Yeah.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Elite Series League of Legends Division 2 with me, Fresh Dana, and of course, still on my side, the wonderful Ale from the ad clip you saw with the Summoner Stance. Ale, welcome back.
I'm the ad clip guy. Yes, I'm
But
the
we
ad
can't
clip
see you.
guy.
No, there he is. There's the
No,
ad
but
clip
there I
line.
am now, the ad clip guy.
Yeah.
So,
But
okay,
but
to
the cool,
explain what...
but the cool ad clip guy. I mean, you had
Yeah.
those sunglasses, right? And you are just like the cool guy from the party who has always this cool face, and it's just
Yeah,
positive.
yeah.
It's just positive.
Yes, kind of. And now we are back into champ select.
Yeah.
But while we're having the champ select, let me tell you a couple of things. So first I want to observe the banning phase that we have once upon a team against GMGG, and the first 4 picks bans we have. So we have Nico and Draven and Avarus on the ban side of once upon a team. And for GMGG, we have the Zeri, we have the Trash, and the third pick, I think they're going to go eventually for mid laner.
No, I think Milio.
Milio?
Yeah, you can't give away Milio, right? Can you?
That's true.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I wouldn't.
That's a big question. Or I believe there's just Milio first pick now.
I think that first game Maokai just made a great impact into these games today because nobody wants to see that pick. And now we have Annie on the side of a Once Upon a Team. But while we are...
Is it a new patch or something? Or why wouldn't they... Yeah, it's patch 11, but is 11 like a Nico ban or something? I mean, is Milio so bad right now that you don't first begin him anymore? I don't know. I think he's still broken, but I mean... You don't need to go for it, right?
But it's for once, in my opinion, one of those champions that came out and feel so balanced or good strong. And yes, exactly, you're right. There is that Milio pick.
I just believe it's not good to give away Milio, and especially like there are so many good combinations with Lucian Milio. I don't know. I mean, Once Upon a Team definitely have something behind that, because actually they would not give it away if they don't have like a plan. So, but let's see. Anyway, Nico with this Annie first pick, they still have a flex pick for Eufo, and of course for must too, but most of the times it's just any mid lane, especially with Y. You have just this good little 1v1, 2v2 stun into the combo, or combo from Y into the stun, so just tons of CC, just tons of catch and teamfight potential, so that could definitely work against the low range Lucian, right? Just flashing onto him because he's low range and just always killing him. But I mean, and of course, like, yeah, that's probably like the way out. Just placing the Blitzcrank against the Lucian Milio, because Milio's biggest weakness is the Blitzcrank basically. So maybe they just plan for that, but I don't know if it's like, I mean, they want to win one game in this whole split, right? And maybe letting Milio open is not the way to win games. But let's see if they can surprise us all.
I'm really happy to see actually that Milio is kind of this new Nami replacement, because when this champion was announced, it was for me like, the first thing I said is, oh, that's a Nami replacement. Because he just gives one thing that Nami cannot give Lucian, is that extra range, and since he is an enchanter, he synergizes really, really well with Lucian. So I was kind of happy to see that this actually happened. Now we also have the Wukong on the side of the MGG. So we have engage, we have disengage, and some front. In my opinion, this could be a Wukong top, but can be still also jungle. So
yeah, I believe most of the times 9 out of 10 or something, it's the Wukong jungle. Just gives so much engage, but it's always flexible, and even mid lane Wukong in the right matchups, you can probably do it. There was even a time with Wukong Senna bot lane, so Who knows, but at least in this game we know the bot lane, so not Wukong center. Anyway, like Nasus and Darius, just 2 big target bans against Axo, but still Garen of Axo is open, so that might be some risk to let him play it. But at the moment, I mean, plain Garen wouldn't be too good, so there's actually like the Lissandra against Annie. I think it's not the best counter pick or something. He will just survive the mid laners Lissandra. Probably just survive those ganks against Vi and can just survive the burst with her own ultimate. So kind of fine matchup. Not the strongest laner in the world, but is good enough with the Wukong for those engages. So kind of still a good combination. And there is Jinx, Lulu for Snoopy and for Eupho maybe, but no, it's not Lulu because it's Blitzcrank already. So there's Cannon actually now coming for Octumalus, who is like one of the members who is new with Once Upon a Team. Just Neko was a standing member from last split, and Octumalus I think played with another team. I don't know quite which team, but he was in the league in Spring Split as well. Anyway, now getting a Cannon blind. And now the big question becomes, what do they want to play against it? And yeah, there's just Malphite. Normally you say Malphite is good against AD champions, but especially with the Comet and Q-maxing build, he can definitely trade well against those ranged carries as well, against Na, against Cannon, so even against Teemo, for example. So always a menace to play against, because those ranged champions usually don't have good sustain, and after a couple of Qs, he could just ult you and kill you. So top lane range carries definitely needs to play safe against Malphite.
So now seeing the teams in whole, I really like the champ select from Once Upon a Team, because personally I'm a Jinx fan, but also in terms of scaling, for me they kind of assured the whole game, let's say like that. On the other side, we have JMGG, we have a strong early, we have mid game, and we have a lot of engage, but I'm kind of personally missing that scaling, just in case we do not assure that early mid game. They have to say, if I had to choose, I would be kind of on the Once Upon a Team, but like I said in the champ select, like I said before, they still have some surprise, I guess. I think they're not going out with that 0 today.
Yeah. So basically, you said it, lots of scaling with Once Upon a Team, kind of more the mid-game stuff on JMGG. And I believe that this is the way to play. I mean, with Lucian Medio, you never really have scaling, and so just playing on your strong foot, just playing on those strong early mid-game team fights with like this wombo combo with Malphite, with Wukong, with Lissandra. I believe you don't really need scaling if you just win the early and mid-game and you just close it out with one last team fight. That's totally perfect, but of course, if you don't do that, Once Upon a Team looks strong in the late game. Just by Jinx herself, if she survives this really huge burst, then she can definitely do something. I believe that's definitely possible, because Jinx is not paired with an enchanter. With like a Lulu, she can probably just survive this engage. But without, she is kinda a sitting duck against Wukong and against Malphite. And then also with those two team comps, it all comes down to who engages first. Because if Malphite Wukong gets like a 3 or 4 man ultimate, then teamfight is basically over. While if Vi and Cannon find like a good angle, or maybe even the hook on Lucian is instant dead or something, then the teamfight is basically over as well. So it all comes down to who gets the better and the faster engage, who gets more targets down with it. There's always the option to just re-engage or to just counter-engage into the enemy backline. But essentially everybody of JMGG will dive into it. So you could also just play defensively. Just let them engage and just press Cannon ult as a defensive mechanism. Or just ult someone who dives in with Vi or something. So you don't need to force a teamfight on yourself. And just play it more a little bit defensively, and if Lucian, for example, oversteps, he just dashes forward, just instantly ult him. So there are really a lot of possibilities to play kind of like the slow game by Once Upon a Team, especially because you have the scaling, especially because you have a winning side lane, you have hyper scaling ADC with even some amount of enchanter power with any shields and stuff. So I believe if Once Upon a Team takes a big breath and just tries to slowly build something up, then that could definitely be one of their first wins. But Lucian Milo just is... I don't know why you let Milo. Like that's the biggest surprise for me in such a team comp. And Dan, and we saw a lot of good games by Dan so far, is one of the stronger ADCs in the league right now. I believe with Emilio on his side, he can definitely make some magic working.
I believe so too, that Once Upon a Team has to play it really safe on the bot lane, because if they do not respect this level 2 and they take the trade, this will look like a gray screen for Once Upon a Team. Though if they respect the Lucian, even though Milio gives extra range and has this perfect synergy with this aggressive ADC, I do believe that there is some room to play. Though if Lucian hits 1 or 2 Qs and goes with some poke on the early trades, she'll lose a lot of HP. And since we have a Blitzcrank on the bot side and not an enchanter that can kind of keep you alive or give you like shields like Lulu or give you HP back like Nami, really spicy. I also do not understand. I mean, yes, the Blitzcrank is really strong against Melio, so this is the threat point that you have. And okay, no, actually, it could make some sense, since Lucian will look for that aggressive play on the bot side with Melio, and Blitzcrank is the counter for, well, I mean, getting pulled on the tower is also not cool for Lucian, even though he has the dash to go out, but it's really dangerous for both of them. But hooking that Melio on the tower could give some free gold to that Jinx, so there is that room to play, but we have to respect the Lucian and not eat damage on the bot side.
Yeah, that's definitely right as well. And with that wonderful analysis by our ad guy Ale, we go into this third game of the day. JMGG versus Once Upon a Team with our third game of this Friday evening. And JMGG, of course, on the red side, Once Upon a Team on the blue side. And let's see who of them will go out with their first win, because both teams started the first 3 days with 3 losses. So one of them will stop this losing streak. Once Upon a Team's losing streak is a little bit higher, so maybe they can stop it as well. But maybe JMGG just comes out clutch with the Lucian Meter. So that's definitely the lane to focus, the lane to look at it, because if Lucian Meter gets the snowball, then it's really evening, you could say, at least as a German saying. Anyway, and let's see who of them will clutch it out. We have just a standard 5-man cover. Nothing really happens on the early game, so we can just analyze it a little bit further. And now, ooh, that's spicy, because now both side laners get level 2, 1 minion before the other top lane or mid lane reciprocal player, so they essentially get level 2 after the first wave with this CS, with this XP lead. And with that, we maybe see something, but probably not.
So Malphite spots the jungler. He knows where Vi is going to start. So they do have that confirmation that Vi is going probably play for that bot side rotation. On the other side, we have the Wukong also starting on the top side. After the buff, we go to our lovely stones. So I'm guessing for that full clear for that bot side. I'm not sure. Is Grasp of the Undying proccing with the Q of Malphite? No, oh,
No.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
no, no.
no,
And-
no, 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 I didn't say. Okay,
Yeah.
no, it's canon with the okay, never mind. My eyes deceived me.
Yeah,
So
it's just a classic range versus melee Malphite going for combat and going for Q poke. And normally in this matchup, you take Mana Flow Band as well, or maybe even Scorch. And just every single time that Mana Flow Band and Comet is on cooldown, you just press Q. So you don't waste too much mana. You every time get a little bit of mana, a little bit of poke, and after your Q is level 3, or even level 4, you can definitely go for 3 Qs, and after those 3 Qs, just go for the kill. And in this case, just as example, he just pressed Q without mana flow band, and that's the more important thing, without the comet, and that's just so much damage is wasting. Anyway, Nako kind of face checking the Wukong right now, but nothing really happens. So Axo or every single Malphite definitely needs to keep that in mind. Don't spam Q, just use them with precision. If all of your stuff is up, then you use it just to get more value out of your mana, because mana is something which is really fast boom out of mana. So you need to be a little bit careful, but especially if you just want to shove the wave in and do a recall after that anyway, that's fine. But if you want to play it a little bit more focused, then you should definitely not spam the Q and rather wait for your other cooldowns as well.
So this is at the moment not looking really good for the jungler from Once Upon a Team, because where the last Wukong stopped, the next Wukong continues with the invading and stealing of camps, where Vi cannot do anything against at the moment. We see her rotating towards mid lane and maybe waiting for that engage.
Oh, there comes the flash engage. The Craw is out, and so, but they don't even get the flash. They lose any flash and don't get the flash from Trust. I mean, that's so sad. I mean,
that is indeed really sad. We have now Vi again rotating towards bot side, maybe to see if we have some camps, and she will find some. Meanwhile, farming wise, we have a lead on the mid side. We do have 10 minions, yeah, and 8 minions more. So we have a little gold lead. Though if we look at the bot side, it does not look really good for the Jinx, since Lucian is accomplishing his goals of pushing, getting that Jinx on the tower and denying as much farm as we can. So we do have that greater minion lead for Lucian on the bot lane.
yeah.
Meanwhile, top lane, we are having the good time and we are scaling.
Yeah,
Yes, with that.
I really like it that actually Octomanus goes for the Giant's belt, just to get some more poke into health, right? So if he just went full AP, then the poke would maybe get him there. But with just Giant's build with more HP, he kind of survives 2 more Qs, so he's just a little bit more defensively, because he knows there could something happen on the top side. With the Crest proc, also some healing in there. So I really like how Octomalus actually is playing his lane matchup.
I do agree about that, because having been squishy and played until level 6, even though poking with the Comet and having Scorch, like you said before, this could have shredded a lot of HP for Cannon, which would have made the lane hardly playable. And then, if we would have been low, it's an easy all-in for that Malphite, even after, I mean, having not taken Grasmokya and dying, just all-in with full HP, is dangerous for Cannon, since this is not the typical tank we see on the top side.
Yeah. No. The big question becomes if you can snowball the solution, because especially like Wukong, the charge. Oh, they knew it, but I mean, both played that kinda good. Why did knew that Axo was there? Axo knew that she was there, so instantly dashing out after the ult. Axo kind of wasted it, but that could be a catch. on Neiko, especially like if he just waits just a slither of second a little bit more, then the Q is actually isn't there as channel, because you can't channel it endlessly. So if he just waits for the Q to expire and then ult, then you could maybe go for it. But with that, he just trades ultimate for Q, which is not that good. Anyway, but they really need to play around illusion and not for the top side, for example. So Owale definitely needs to jungle down, and then with maybe a roam from Thrust or something, then you really need to just crush the Jinx, because otherwise your illusion Mio just gets outscaled and isn't really that worth it anymore.
So we see that yes, we have some pings on the side of the top lane that maybe we're going to play for some vision, get the Herald, since we do got the first Drake on the side of the JMGG. So I think that they're going to play a lot around the objectives this game. We see also that Once Upon a Team is reacting to the still objective that is up.
Oh, this number gets caught here, but with her Frozen Tomb, she at least survives a little bit and flash it out with her Frost Ring, but in the end she just gets Y-ulted, and with that she's First Blood, and also Wukong kinda gets out there, Owale, but in the end, I mean, why do they not just chase it? Yeah, there's the chase, there's the kill, and now Aksu is kinda alone, can maybe trade 1-for-1 here, but no, there's just the whole squad, just 3 kills, double kill for Octomalis, and like that was really not good from JMTG. A lot of people died there just by trying to save the mid laner.
No, but it was huge for Once Upon a Team, because they got now that advantage. We have a 2k gold for Once Upon a Team, we have 3 deaths for them, and so the free objective on top side. Yeah. This is exactly what they need and want to get that win that they need at the end of this game.
Yeah, definitely. So, at the moment, it doesn't look too bad for Once Upon a Team. And JMTG still has some chances. Oh, I mean, what this culling and just kind of is wasted by just a good sidestep there by Blitzcrank, and a really good traps there, by the way, by Smoothie. And yeah, it just feels like JMTG is kind of out of the game already, and that's really sad to say. But I mean, they just fall behind with like the early to mid game comp. And there's nothing more to be done here, probably. So let's see if they can bounce back, but it looks already really, really tough for them.
We have a lot of action on the bot side. We see that Lissandra also rotated, and we are going for that red buff. We are not gonna let that red buff get to Neiko. I mean, this is just something they do not want to do, and we see again a lot of rotation. Also, Annie going to the buff to deny the steal, and so they did. We have the next Drake spawning in 30 seconds, and I do not know if I should keep my eyes open or close my eyes, because in my opinion this is going to be a little bloodbath. A little bloodbath is going to be. We have the TP up.
Oh, the Mio got caught! And that's why you play Blitzcrank against Mio lanes. It's so easy, just catch him and he's dead.
This is bad for JMTG. They have no pressure. We have the Herald that just spawned on the bot side, so we also get 3 playthings. And in my opinion, they have just done something I would not have do, and that is sharing playthings divided by 3. They know they have a hyper carry on the bot side. Leave the side, give that gold to... Also for Blitzcrank, could have left the side. Give that extra gold to Jinx so she scales faster, which is actually their winning con. They want that Jinx to scale as fast as possible, get all the gold and the advantages she needs, so that she can get that, yeah, be strong, win those fights, kill the carries.
Oh, they try to get onto Y, but in the end, just the Wukong dies with the Jinx rocket in the end, getting nothing, but still is a good catch by Once Upon a Team. And it's just the 5th kill in a row. and it's really successful right now for Once Upon a Team. I want to keep your eyes on this cannon because he is building like heart of steel, heart of stone, heart of iron, heart steel. And like, what item build is that? I mean, yeah, it's I mean, cannon with heart steel. I mean, it's really strange. A little bit of tankiness against this poke of Malphite is fine, but I don't know if that's really like the way to go. But essentially, it kinda is. I mean, look at this trade. I mean, that was really clutch. But it's on a range carry. I believe that range carries get a little bit or less HP from it, but still, it looked strong in this 1v1. But if it's the right build, I don't know.
I think since Cannon also bought some AP with the staff, that gave him some extra damage to, make some pressure to that Malphite. Also, with Malphite's passive, gives him stacks of armor, but doesn't give him stacks of magic resist. So playing against AP champs isn't really favorable in terms of resistance. We have the Drake up, and we have a huge gold lead on the side of Once Upon a Team, which is a 5k. That is like 1.5 item or 2 items fully built. This is really good for Once Upon a Team, but not looking so greenish for JMGG. Lucian is not achieving his goals of being that oppressive all-in character that sends Jinx back. We do have minion. Yeah, Lucian has a smaller minion lead, but this 10 minions will not make that huge of a difference. We have Jinx that is going to become level 9 soon, which is one of her, she became just level 9, which is one of her power spikes, because then her Q will be fully upgraded, which makes her rocket farm the longest, the farthest.
Oh, the full engage here on a big shutdown going to Wukong. And like, that's something I want to see from JMGG. Play around your win conditions, and especially like we didn't see a single bot lane gang from them, not a single Wukong ult, not a single Lissandra ult, basically for the bot lane. Now at least they get maybe the second strike, and they try to engage onto Jinx with a flash engage, but Jinx just flashed it out on herself. Blitzcrank as well just flashed out, so just a lot of trading the bot lane, and now Axu maybe dying in the 1v1. The auto tanks, they hurt, and Octamalus essentially gets this kill. And with that, it's not a Drake. I mean, they could just try to secure Drake, but I mean, in the end, they got some summoner spells from the bot lane, which is fine as well. But this Drake was essentially free, and I think Drake could be one more win condition for JMGG. Right now, they are behind. So building up some win conditions is definitely a way to go. And now after they got those summoner spells, I really want to see them to repeat gank that. Because if you don't punish this Jinx yet, after she lost both summoner spells, JMGG is more or less out of game. So they need to punish it now for the next 4 minutes. Otherwise, I think they lost just the game.
We also see that on top side, we already got the second item for Cannon.
Oh, the teleport plays coming out, and he has no flash yet, so it's just a second kill for Ovale. Really well played. Just punishing those flashes is a good way to play it, but just look at the health bars. Wukong and Milu kinda are low, and there could be the contest, but now Y is on the flip side of the map, so just a second Drake going down for JMGG.
It doesn't look like Once Upon a Team wants to contest the Drake. I saw Blitzcrank rotating a little bit up to C to get some vision, and he saw they did not make the top side objective, and at that point they just knew, let's just trade the objective, give them the Drake, we take the Herald, we take the tower platings and the gold. Oh no, we have the 16 minutes. We take the towers, we take the gold.
Yeah. And just look at the soul, or the potential soul. I think that soul definitely with this triple or with this double front line. Lissandra basically has triple front line. With the Soul could be something to work with for JMGG, but they are still 5k behind, and especially with this team comp, if you are not ahead, it's basically over. So I don't believe that this Soul will really bring life to them, even though it's like the life-bringing Soul, right? I think that Once Upon a Team, if Baron spawns, can just play around it and probably crush them in those team fights.
So, what are both teams' win conditions? We have on the one side Once Upon a Team that if they keep doing what they do, and that means taking those winnable trades and keep scaling, this is going to make them win. On the other side, we have JMGG with, first of all, the 5k gold deficit. We want, in my opinion, go for those picks with that Lissandra, with that Wukong, and if they make it, to catch the Jinx, the Cannon, or Annie before the fight start completely. This could make it more favorable for JMGG to play those team fights, but they do need to get those picks. If they play fully those team fights, they will lose those team fights.
Yeah, and Trust just gives away one more stick for the Cannon, who basically goes full tank at this point. Just, oh, they try to engage Blitzcrank. I mean, that's basically a free catch for them. So that's something. You know, they try to go even for Octimalo still has Flash, Octimalo still has the Maelstrom, but the Maelstrom is probably just not strong enough in such a fight. No, he's just dead. Is shutdown. Going to Ovala, and I mean, he got any shutdown, he gets now the Cannon shutdown. So this Wukong gets really, really tough with those kills. And they just secured 2 kills for them. I mean, still 4k gold lead. But now they play for teamfights. Now they play for catches. Now they essentially play for their win conditions. And just look at the bot line. 4 assists for Mido. So the Mido pick definitely works. And just 1 assist for Lucian. So he is basically a non-factor. But he will always be a really, really strong champion with the Mido together. So if they just get some more kills, some more shutdowns, or maybe some objectives, then JMGG definitely got back into the game.
Definitely. So okay, we just lost the shutdown gold on Jinx on 150 gold. Isn't that over big? But we want to take everything we can to take this lead. With that, I really like his Lissandra lockdown we have, and Malphite, of course. On the side of JMGG, because those are really things that makes life quite hard for a champion non-mobile like Annie or like Jinx. We do have some shields on Annie, and if we get the reset on Jinx, she might run away, but we are not going from that point on, because the scenario would be that Lissandra and Malphite are going for that all-in. And with that tomb from Lissandra. We have Drake that is going to spawn in 1 minute, which would be the 3rd Drake for JMGG. This would bring them... that would be actually a very good Drake for topside, because, and actually for everybody, but since this gives more life regen, gives more skirmish power for the topside, which is Malphite in that case.
Oh, there could be the engage onto Wukong. Can he find the crab? No, he can't. And, like, one big question I'm thinking right now is, can one of those 2 teams just trade, like Baron for Drake? At the moment, Once Upon a Team, they could definitely trade it for Soul Point and just say, yeah, fuck it. We don't fight Drake, we just get free Baron. Or could just JMGG say, yeah, it's just the first Drake. We don't need Soul as quick, and just go for Baron instead. So both teams could definitely try to go for a trade, but I think both just want to keep the enemy team away from this dragon, because Soul Point is just really huge, and JMGG really want to secure it, while Once Upon a Team, no, they try to go for the trade, or at least they want to keep them away from the trade instead, so they just try to force the Baron now and just bait them into a fight. Why? Or they get the Malphite. Can they burst them down before you will say they bursted him? Really well played. There's the Maelstrom, so they try to fight it back, but the question is who has more damage in those team fights, who can play a little bit faster in those team fights. Lissandra is still surviving. Can they play with the passive now? They can't. So now Jinx is on the hunt, but in the end it's just 2 kills for Once Upon a Team. And yeah, JMGG essentially now just should go for the Drake and just trade it, because they can't really steal it, they can't really do something. Just walk to the Drake, just walk to the Drake. But now they try to contest, and that's probably the wrong decision.
Jinx from Outa played it really beautifully and respected every champ that really wanted to go for her. This really looked like she couldn't do anything about this fight, but after the cooldowns were from the other side for JMGG, she had an opening and could finish that Seraphine, which gave her also the reset to jump back into the fight, this mobility which we talked about. Meanwhile, we have JMGG going for that Drake, and it does not look like Out wants even to contest it, because first of all it's too late, and with that Baron buff they can just push that mid lane and get that mid lane tower. We also got 2 kills on the side of Out for Jinx, which is really good for her. This is exactly what you want in your team when you have a Jinx. You want to get those kills and you want to give them to her so she can scale as fast as possible. We have a lot of action on the top side. I mean, on the bot side of the jungle of JMGG, where we're also going for that next bot lane tower. Get as much resources as possible as we have with that Drake, where we even have almost 10k difference in gold. Though JMGG has the 3 Drakes, so they should, if they get the next Drake, this is really good for them, because this is one tool that helps to keep them in track. But Once Upon a Team is making a lot of pressure on the bot lane and on the mid lane with that cannon, and the rest of the team on the mid lane. There's a lot of action on the mid lane. You see that the people are getting really nervous and just looking for that slide of a second to get an entry to fight.
Yeah, and for JMGG to fight, they definitely need Malphite, but he is sitting on the sideline to defend Cannon, and without him it's basically impossible to find a right angle in those team fights. And even with Malphite, and that's something I really like about this Jinx player, he builded Gale Force, because Gale Force just counters all of the hard engage, except with such an angle maybe there is a way to get into the Jinx ultimate, but this is a wonderful stopwatch there in the backline. Now Wukong is there as well. Meantime, Lissandra is dead, and now the cannon just protects his hyper carry. Jinx is still alive, still has so much health left, and then can't really get into them. In the end, it's just losing teamfight towards JMGG. Cannon too tanky for them all. Double kill for Annie, and that's game, because with Baron buff and just Axel surviving, JMGG will not win this team fight, will not win this game. And Once Upon a Team, for so long they lost every single game, but no, on this day it's really historic, it's really history. Once Upon a Team won their first game in the history of Elite Series Division 2 on the 16th of June. What a game by them, and finally they won one. I mean, it's unbelievable, but they did it, and you won the bet. I mean, you betted on them, you won it. I mean,
they deserved it.
Man. Yeah,
they deserved it. If it would be a team, watching into the mirror, they would say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the freshest of them all?"
No, yeah, that's true. And Once Upon a Team, I mean, I just want to check it out when was Spring Split started, because maybe something like March or maybe even February, I don't know. Just let us see it. The Spring Split started in January, actually, like since January 25th. Like that's basically maybe a half year or something. I mean, if we would have the 25th June, then it would be 5 months, right? So more or less a little bit after a whole half year, they finally won a game. I mean, that's really clutch.
I mean, in my opinion, they deserved it. They played it well. True. They used their advantages. They respected fights it should not take. I mean, for me, it was more than clean. I mean, all props that they finally took that one win. I mean, they deserved it.
Yeah. Is it the rise? Is it the rise of Once Upon a Team now? Will they start like a half-year winning streak now? Will they just turn it around? Or just lose the next game? I don't know. We will see it anyway on the Rift Entertainment channel, of course, where those storylines are being created by us, by the casters. And for the last game, I don't know if Regie can just show us the schedule, because the last game definitely is a banger. It's Aurora against Dynasty. In both teams, there's a German player. In both teams, I would say before the split, Dynasty is one of the clear favorites, and Aurora is middle of the pack. At the moment, Aurora is the clear favorite, and Dynasty is actually the bottom tier. So it couldn't be more like important for both of those teams. Let's see who will win it. We go into a short break, and after that we see the banger matchup, Aurora against Dynasty.
Ich bin der Daniel und das ist der Nali. Und mir weiß der Schaudecker, wenn du Summoner Stance so laufen wird. Kommt Mod.
Spiel Summoner Stance bei diesem League of Legends Turnier, Mod.
Oh nein, das hab ich gekillt. Guck, kein Bock mehr auf League.
Beweis den Treffsicherheit bei diesem Bierpunkt-Turnier.
Oh, Genre ist so gewonnen. Das ist kein Spaß.
Oder genieße flotten Abend mit der Community.
Eine Straße, viele Bäume. Ja, das ist eine Allee. Allee, 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 Allee.